We continue with more reaction around the latest jobs data. We do so with the PwC Chief Economist, Lullu Krugel. Thank you so much for your time, Lulu. Is this what the market had expected, given that the South African labour landscape continues to be on that downward trajectory?
Thank you, Tumisang. Yes, unfortunately, if we look at what happened to the economy, to output, and to a large extent to the levels of uncertainty, I think that what we've seen in the global economy, we weren't expecting a massive improvement or much of a better picture. And to be brutally honest, if I think about how we started the second quarter, I'm worried that the second quarter data, unless things might turn around drastically, might also not be great when we look back and talk about it in a couple of months' time.
That near-term outlook is just as concerning as you allude to it, Lulu. Where then do the major worries lie around joblessness in this country, given that trade saw the majority of jobs lost this time around?
Yeah, as you mentioned, trade, construction were the two big sectors that really lost a significant amount of jobs. Construction, almost 120,000, and in trade, almost 200,000 jobs. And I think the trade situation tells us a little bit about where the South African consumer is. It includes both wholesale and retail trade, but it's telling us that the South African consumer is not in a good spot. So it's not a good time to be necessarily a business in the retail environment. And as such, we've seen a significant impact on jobs there. It is a sector that, when things are going well, it reasonably easily creates and absorbs high levels of jobs and numbers of people. But unfortunately, on the flip side, if things don't go well, we see that too. And then construction has really been under the gun, if I could call it that, for quite some time. And really, in my opinion, being driven by uncertainty from businesses, from the average consumer to say, I'm not willing to invest in bricks and mortar at the moment. I'm not willing to invest significantly in additional capacity in the economy if I'm a business. So that's really why we've seen those kinds of impacts. And, we get about 500,000 new people entering the job market every year. And if we look at the numbers at the beginning of last year versus this year, that's exactly what we're seeing. So just to absorb new entrants into the labor market, we should create around 500,000 jobs. And the reality is that we've only managed to create jobs for less than 10% of those people.
Sure. You touched on that uncertainty. It's unlikely to go away at the blink of an eye. What then should be the remedy, especially as economic growth prospects continue to be lowered?
Well, I think, as economists and policymakers, we've been chatting for a long while, because you specifically alluded as well to the formal sector actually losing quite a bit of jobs. That we need to move into a space where we need to make it possible for younger people entering the job markets to say that, those formal job opportunities are less and less. And that's not only in South Africa that we see that problem, but how can I be an entrepreneur and create, start up a business? How can I get into the gig economy, parts of the economy that, those of us that are a little bit older and more used to the formal economy might not understand as well. But definitely rather focusing on opportunities to earn an income than creating jobs. And that's really some of the discussions that I'm seeing now. And I hope that we are able to get that right. And actually, how do you connect young people to that opportunities, which might not be long-term, but rather shorter-term opportunities?
Thank you so much for your input. Lullu Krugel is the Chief Economist at PwC, giving us reaction to the latest jobs data out of Stats SA earlier today.